Hey there, it's Rachel Mullins, the host of #NoFilter Fridays on Public House Media.
Hey, this is Lee.
And this is Chelsea.
And we are the host of your new favorite sales podcast, See Jane Sell.
Join us every Thursday for a new episode where we will tackle the realistic world of sales and maybe teach you a thing or two along the way.
You can subscribe to See Jane Sell on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, iHeartRadio, CastBox, and Spotify. Thanks, and enjoy the following podcast on Public House Media.
Boundaries are a part of self-care. They are healthy, normal, and necessary. Doreen Virtue. Welcome to Choose to Rise. Welcome to Public House Media. Today we're going to be talking about burnout. We're going to be talking about how to recover from it. We're going to be talking about how to avoid it. We're going to be talking about how it's a real thing. Burnout is something that affects a lot of people in a lot of ways because we are just so connected to everything that's a part of our life with the digital devices in our hands and the access we have to information and our work constantly. So today I want to help you. I want to serve you in a way that helps you be your best by avoiding burnout, or better yet, recovering from burnout, because so many of us fall into this trap all the time. If you want to connect with me more, you can head over to choosetoriseup.com. You can head over. It's going to be getting a revamp soon. So I hope that if you've been there before, that you come back to it. And if you want to connect with me, you can shoot me an email at choosetoriseup@gmail.com. And I would love to hear from you. I would love to know what you love about our podcast, what we love about the messages I share, or if you have other ideas of topics that you want to hear more of, please let me know. I would love to serve you in the best way possible. And that means knowing what you need and what you love and how I can best continue to do so. All right. Boundaries are a part of self-care. They are healthy, normal, and necessary. Today, we're going to be talking about those exact topics. We're going to be talking about all of the things that cause burnout, and boundaries. Setting boundaries are one of the things that you can do in order to do that. Okay, and now a side note here, I can see the people jumping on the live version here on Public House Media, and they're probably wondering, Kim, what the heck happened to your eye? Well, talk about boundaries, right? We were sledding this last weekend, and lots of snow here in Iowa. And we were sledding last weekend, and the puppy dog, Pearl, she was in the sled with me. She's a great big lab, and she decided to bail out of the sled partway down the hill, and she threw herself backwards, smoked me in the face. And so I have this pretty shiner that doesn't hurt, but it definitely is pretty. We'll use that word, pretty. And so that's what happened to my eye. Okay, let's get to the actual content here. How to recover from burnout, how to avoid burnout. We're going to give you 8 tips today for getting back on track, for getting back into the groove of things. And burnout is a very real and very big thing that can take a huge toll on your productivity, on your motivation, and just overall happiness. Like I talk to so many people, especially in my industry, that are like, this is all I think about. This is all I want to do. And that's great. But at the same time, that's going to get you down. That's a pretty quick way of getting you into a burnout mode. So we've all been there. We all know that we have so much on our to-do list as moms, as women, as working moms, especially a lot of you that are listeners, and coaches on my team. We all have a million things to be doing in our life, and because we maybe procrastinate some things, then we become overwhelmed, and it becomes easier to maybe just binge watch on Netflix instead of actually doing the things that are on our to-do list. So I want you to really feel like I want you to know that you're not alone in this feeling, that you're definitely not alone in the worry of procrastination or feeling like you just have so much to do. But how you react to those things, how you focus on what is on your to-do list, and how you make priorities out of them is really what changed the game here. So we are all super busy. Everyone's calendars are just full. Life is just go, 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 go. But how do we maintain a relationship, a job, friends, exercise, eating healthy, self-care, all the kids' things that we've got going on? Everyone has a full plate. But when we are really worried about making sure that we are taking care of the things that are priorities on our list, that's when we can really start to focus on making sure that everything goes the way it's supposed to, and we can avoid that burnout feeling. So when we get time for ourselves, that's when, when we're not taking time for ourselves, that's when burnout really starts to appear. So today I want to share with you a few things that are going to help you make sure that you are taking care of yourself, because oftentimes when our to-do list gets super full, self-care is the first thing to go. Exercise gets kicked out the window because we've got other things on our plate. Eating well goes out the window because we're trying to grab things for comfort food or for convenience. Downtime is just off the list. Self-care in general is just gone. So you can't stop being a mom. You can't stop being a wife. You can't stop being, going to your job, but all those other things just fall off the plate. And that's exactly why burnout starts to set in, because you're not taking care of yourself. So today, let's talk about some steps to avoid burnout or to really recover from burnout as it happens. All right. The first one to do is plan, strategize, and schedule. Yes, plan, strategize, and schedule. We all have a million things on our plates, right? But in order to avoid overwhelm, in order to avoid being, stressed out and really trying to feeling like there's just so much on our plate, planning out your month, planning out your weeks, planning out your days is a great way to stay on track and figure out what exactly you want to accomplish. What are your priorities? Creating a long-term schedule helps see the big picture and allow you to break down larger tasks into manageable goals, and then you feel a lot less overwhelmed. Lastly, schedule tasks that will help keep you accountable and consistent. Schedule a certain day of the week to accomplish specific tasks. Like maybe on Sundays, you're going to meal prep. Maybe on Mondays, you're going to, clean the first level of your house. Maybe on Wednesdays is when you're going to do a certain thing. But also when you're scheduling things in, make sure you're scheduling an hour of you time in that time as well. Making sure that you're scheduling in date nights so they actually happen. We have this joke at our house that if it doesn't happen, it's not on the calendar, it's not going to happen. And that is so true when it comes to date night. We try to sporadically schedule them, and that's when they just don't happen because you can't find a babysitter or you can't, something else comes up with the kids or whatever, and then it just doesn't work out. The best way to make sure that things are going to happen in your day is to plan and to have a schedule and to really stick to that. Now, there are always going to be things that are going to happen randomly, but having a schedule is going to make sure that you can figure out where to put those random pieces and make them work in your day. The second tip I have for you is block out time for specific tasks. Similar to scheduling your time blocking for specific tasks is a fantastic strategy for not feeling overwhelmed and making sure that you get things done. How many of you have a chunk of time in the day and you're just oh, I'm going to get these 3 things done. And then pretty soon, boom, that chunk of time goes away. Well, it just either goes away because you've just spinning your wheels and it just has gone by, or you haven't, that time gets filled up with something else. So having a specific chunk of time to do something, setting a timer and making sure that you have specifically those things set aside is a great way to make sure that you have certain tasks done. I know in my coaching time, I have certain times chunked out in a day for certain meetings. I have time chunked out in part of my day for certain activities that are part of my business. And I set a timer and I try to get as much done during that 60-minute timer or that 30-minute timer, or even if I'm really feeling pressure in the pinch of getting something accomplished, I shorten my time even more and put it at 5 minutes to get this done. How many messages can I send out in 5 minutes? How many people can I follow up with, or who can I connect with on my team again in this amount of time? So writing down and really focusing in on certain things. Maybe it's even setting a timer for 10 minutes and how much of my living room can I get clean in 10 minutes, right? It's just a matter of figuring out those specific blocks of time and really scheduling it and doing it. Number 3, avoid the technology black hole. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Pinterest, Facebook, Netflix, even online shopping, like the Zulily app I love, but oh my goodness, there are so many things I do not need. And I spend so much time on there just looking at things that we're never going to order, right? So the things that are sucking you in, and then the next thing you know, it's been an hours long time and you've lost all that chunk of time, like I was talking about earlier. So don't get me wrong. Sometimes exactly what you need is a little me time, right? You need to kind of have that 30 minutes of like zoned out. You're not thinking about anything that you need to get done. But that's not what I'm talking about when it comes to like multiple times a day and then stressing because you don't have enough time in your life to accomplish everything that's on your list. You have to reevaluate how you're using your time every day. Are you getting things done in a timely fashion so that you have extra time in order to, do anything like surf the web? Or are you paying attention to your time so you know specifically how much time you have each day and you're not wasting it as you go? Now that if you're aware of the time that you're using, you can limit that time of just surfing and using it for more valuable things on your list, using it for the priorities on your list. Number 4, take breaks and time for yourself. Now, I just talked about this one, and there's a difference between taking a break for yourself and time for yourself and just, wasting time. So sometimes you're feeling overwhelmed or burnt out, and the best thing you can do is just take a break and relax. So I know when I've been really grinding hard for a couple hours, I have scheduled in for myself a walk with the dog, because I know that if I keep going at the pace that I'm going, I'm going to get burnt out by the end of the day. And I really want to make sure that's not happening. So I purposely schedule in things like getting outside, walking the dog, making this errand to the grocery store, going here to drop something off for the kids. Like I schedule those things in so that 1, I'm still tackling things on my to-do list, and 2, I'm kind of switching tasks and making sure that I'm taking time to recharge my batteries and making sure that I feel refreshed and motivated to keep going. Now, my husband and I work out first thing in the morning, but if that was something that we hadn't done, I would make sure that I would plug in a workout maybe in the middle part of my day or the end of my day, just to make sure that I'm really getting everything out of my day and still taking breaks to get some me time in. Because working out for me is a me time activity. Number 5, just start. This one seems so obvious, but yet sometimes is the hardest thing to do. One of the biggest side effects of burnout for me is procrastination. When I push things off to the end of the month, when I push things off to the end of the week, when I push things off to like the day it's supposed to happen. When I feel burnout, the first thing I do is start to making excuses to avoid tackling the to-do list. I find other things to do. But usually if I can just make myself start one task that's on my to-do list, I fall right back into things and I'm able to keep moving forward and be super productive in the day. Sometimes it's just making yourself start something that's all it takes. But if you're really into burnout mode, you're probably going to be in procrastination mode as well. And if you start your task and you're still not able to get focused on it, just maybe it's time to unplug and go at another day. Really look at your priorities and what it is that you're feeling and where you're at. And, we talk about this a little bit in fitness, is like, if you're not feeling it like you're doing your workout, give it 5 minutes. And after 5 minutes, if you're not really feeling it, then maybe it's not the day that you do it. But if after 5 minutes you're really starting to feel good and you're keeping forward, then keep going and get the entire thing in. So really focus in on where it is that you're burnt out, what maybe you need to do to go recharge your batteries, and figure out that task so you can come back even stronger next time to really tackle your list. Number 6, make a list of accomplishments. Sometimes burnout stems from feeling defeated, like you're not succeeding, that you have a negative mindset that you just can't shake. And so you find yourself going in this downward spiral that you get yourself caught up in, self-doubt, negativity, and all these kinds of things. When you feel those kinds of things happening, a great thing that you can do is to create a to-do list, or not a to-do list, but create an accomplishment list of all the things that you've achieved. A lot of times when you're climbing that mountain, it gets to be so hard and you feel like you're never getting anywhere. But when you turn around and look back at where you've come from, you can see and you get perspective of where you're at. So if you're feeling negative about something that you're doing in your life, or you're feeling that you're just not going someplace, really focus in on the positive things. Have you lost 20 pounds? Have you changed the energy level of your life? Have you created a long list of customers? Have you done things in your business? Have you done things in your life? Have you accomplished things of the things that you're working on? How much of the project do you already have done? Really start to think about the accomplishments that you've had in your life, the positive things, and then understand, yes, if I can do that, I can do this, and just keep going forward. Number 7, remember the big picture and your why. When the most important thing that you really always need to focus on and never lose sight of is your why. Why did you start this big project? What is the big picture reality going to be when you accomplish it? When I feel uninspired or burnout, the one thing that really lights my fire is remembering my why. Why do I do what I do? Why do I show up here every single Monday, Wednesday, Friday? Why am I showing up in my life and on my social media and in my family's life? Why do I do these things, right? When you can do things for the enjoyment and in nothing else, that's where it really is the fun, and you can get into the flow of things. But when you really know your why and how it centers, it can really center you and really be a part of your passion. That's when you really look at that full-time, that big picture, and understand, remember where things are at in your whole time. That's when you can really overcome that burnout. You can get rid of that defeated feeling, and really remembering your why is usually what snaps me back into hustle mode and really kicks my butt into action, because I have goals to achieve. I have things that I want to do with my life, and me doing what I'm doing in my business and what I'm doing in life is what fires me up. And if it's not something that fires you up, you need to find something of like that and do it. And the last tip I have for you, was super hard for me at the beginning, but I've understood that if I can't do everything by myself and I'm not Superwoman, number 8 is to ask for help. Sometimes we find it super hard to ask for help, or at least I do, but honestly, sometimes it's simply that simple. You just have to ask. And I know there are things in that my husband can take off my plate. I know that there are things that, other friends and family can do to kind of help with things. And sometimes I feel guilty that I can't do it all by myself, but that's super silly and irrational, because you can't do everything by yourself. It takes a village to make a life happen. And when you can communicate those needs, and you can communicate the desire for you to have other people help you in your business or in life in general, parenting with kids, all those kinds of things, that's where it's going to be the most accepted, and you're going to feel the best about it. The people in your life who love you are happy to help you, and you're not a burden for asking, and you're not less amazing for needing help, and you're not lazy because you can't get it all done. Know and trust me here that asking for help is actually a sign of strength more than it is a sign of weakness. So there are lots of things here that I just shared with you about how to get out of burnout, or to really focus on self-care here and making sure that you are feeling your absolute best. Ask for help, right? Remember the big picture and your why. Stay plugged into those things. Make a list of accomplishments and remember where you've come from. Just get started. Take a break and time for yourself, making sure you're plugging into your own self-care. Avoid the technology black hole. Unplug and recharge yourself. Block out time for specific tasks, making a schedule, plan, strategize, and making sure that you're working at things as your absolute best. You'll be able to recover from your burnout. You'll be able to avoid some burnout situations maybe, and feel your absolute best as you're going forward. All right. So the quote this morning was, boundaries are a part of self-care. They are healthy, normal, and necessary. And that is absolutely true today. And I hope that you find some time to create some boundaries in your life, that you are able to recover from that burnout, or that you are able to avoid it altogether. So thanks so much for joining me today. If you like the show, if you got something out of this that you want to hear more about Choose to Rise, head over to Podbean or Apple Podcasts and hit subscribe. Leave a rating and review. I love connecting with my listeners there. And if you have questions, the best way to get a hold of me is to email me at chooseriseup@gmail.com. And I love to connect with you and hear more about what it is that you love about Choose to Rise and how I can better serve you as well. So thanks so much for joining me today, and I hope to see you here next time.